individual soul per se having karma, when we just said that it's the oversoul that's sitting here regulating all of these things. The oversoul is the one that's doing this. This is the oversoul's mission. So is the oversoul like some kind of like hammy out, like a sort of like a, what do you call it, regulating it, as in it's like, hey guys, I have all of your karma records and things like that. I know what you need to experience. Boom, boom. You come down here and you have your individual charts and stuff like that from things that you did, but this doesn't make sense to me in this model that would be the case. Because there's a principle right here, a principle force that is governing a lot of these things. And as I told you, ultimately you are the oversoul. You're ultimately the oversoul. So why is the oversoul trying to deal out karma and ensure that karma is being dealt out to people individually who are itself and everything? Unless oversouls themselves were once souls that were guided by the oversoul. See, this is evolutionary astrology, people. This is not a type of thing where I'm not going to do this little fake stuff with you where I know everything. Okay, I have a strong ninth house and stuff, so I can figure these kinds of things out. I'm very obsessive when it comes to dealing with the abstract. So like I said, we do have our oversouls and stuff here that have their specific traits that collectively we constitute. Okay, collectively, if you take the sum of this, will equal to that with the knowledge of this, with the oversoul. Collective sum of this equals sum of the oversoul and its knowledges and things that it takes. So when we die, you're going to the oversoul again. You dead, boom, whoosh, return back to the oversoul. It has new knowledges and things like that. So what it's going to do? Oh, because of your karma now. So now the oversoul has to obey the law of karma, and it's like you individually got to experience this. You now have to, and yeah, you keep your identity, your soul. You get to keep your identity and all that wonderful stuff. Just so that you can go through another cycle and then return it to me. So we got to reconcile these two. We can either reconcile them. Okay, so what we can do, we can let them stand as they are alone. Okay, when we talk about reincarnation. So we're adding some, okay, because this model adds another process. It adds an oversoul here. Okay, that's what this one is doing. And as I said, it's governing them. Okay, in some way. And these things in this particular model, these things, as I told you, are the oversoul. So this really has to be kept in mind. So is the oversoul itself is karma itself like the force of karma, right? This mysterious force of karma, right? Or whatever. Is it like, this field? Is it like, oh, the oversoul is right here and stuff like that, and has to occupy this space and explore this particular part of Earth realm here because the karma. It has to manage its own karma from the things that it did or its little pieces did and everything like that. And it has to make sure and guide those little pieces to do the right. I mean, you could say that now that you actually have the model here. You have the metaphysical model that's going on here. Or is it this soul? Is it exempt? Is the soul itself, the oversoul, exempt from the effects of karma itself? Because if you go into the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, you're saying that you don't have to subscribe to that either. But it's the same stuff that many other astrology, systems use. It's karma and everything. There are many that do that. I don't know all of them, but I did two main Eastern and Western model, the Vedic and the Western. Europeans use. I tend to be more informed on that. Okay. So yes, I'm trying to figure this out and work out this dynamic, guys, because I do believe that there are souls. It's just that I don't understand exactly what the oversoul is doing. Okay, these are variables that we're working with. I think that the intellectual mind is going to be key in reconciling physical with the metaphysical. Variable. Ain't no just, I'm going to sit here and believe what I want, and then hopefully it plays out based on my belief, and I'm the master of my my desire and my reality, and all this kind of stuff. Okay, you can do that and cling to the the traditional astrology or modern astrology they were using or whatever it is. I suppose that you can do that, but this still doesn't change the fact of these other models that we have out here of the soul dynamic. It isn't going to change the fact that that's still out there. It's the same thing with religion. You're a Christian or whatever the fuck. It doesn't change the fact that there's another perspective. Doesn't change the fact there's another perspective that's at play here. Okay. So I'm not trying to observe it all. We're trying to look at truth. We have to observe the totality of things and not just stick with being comfortable and what sounds really good and warm to us. And trust me, ninth house in Cancer. I like to use my skills, my voice, my teachings to nurture people. That is what I do. Yes. But at the same time, it's the ninth house is dealing with truth. So you got to be able to observe all of these models. Is there an oversoul, or are we just individual souls? Because if there's an oversoul, that implies that each soul has a connection to the oversoul. In other words, yes, there are soul groups. Okay, and the lead, where this assembly is happening, is in the oversoul. Is what this would be embodied here. Is what it suggests. And let's not to forget the sun too. The sun sign is very similar. The sun is a large heavenly body as well, which is very similar, components or qualities that the soul has. Yes, it's many times. It's just in the distance. Okay, that's why I'm drawing the rays right here, just so I can outline this, so you guys can see this. You got to be able to see the difference in this. The sun, this is big, very big. It's a very big, powerful soul. That's why it's called soul. It's called soul. Okay, that's why it's called that. All right, because this motherfucker is using the wheel. You guys think I'm playing around talking about the wheel, the soul? Also, nobody playing with that. Nobody playing around when I say this is big and powerful right here. This thing can project. Listen, like a projector, it projects will. Nothing will live without the will of this thing. Nothing will. And then these things, the oversouls, very much similar design, smaller, and everything like that, carry out the will. Is what they do. Their own individual will that works in harmony with the will of the sun and all this kind of stuff. Okay, so now this makes sense, obviously, as I'm telling you. Okay. So this is the soul dynamic in dealing or including the oversoul model. And how can we reconcile the two? Are we fractals? Are we these short-term sort of like algorithms that are just assembled? In other words, there is no oversoul. It's just you're just basically the cycles, the intelligence that controls the cycles. It's somewhere out here. It's abstract. It created the universe and everything like that, or rather, it structured the universe and then the time of it and all that kind of stuff. And it's a consciousness of some kind. So I'm kind of making it black because we're talking about unknown stuff over here that's emanating somewhere in the depths of the deep parts of space, dark matter, whatever you want to call it, operating from there. This intelligence, ever so and always. Okay, it's producing or it's generating the cycle, all of the cycles, in which the souls, by the law of polarity, are to be guided by the old soul, then put into the body. And stuff like that. This is a very, very interesting model, people. Very interesting stuff. We'll just for the sake of putting another tree right there. Boom, we got another one. Okay. Very, very interesting stuff. Okay, I think this model I'm going to work on a little bit more, probably later. But this is what we have right here, folks. This is the nature of humanity in some way, shape, or form. One of these models, either both, or there's some truth in either. Either just being individual souls or the oversoul. It's going to have to be a truth somewhere. And, hey, honestly, I'm not here to kind of like, if this shakes up people's experience, or you feel like your current, astrological model or whatever spiritual model or system of belief that you have, okay, that you've been sort of, some people have been indoctrinated into by religion, okay? Because Christianity, all this stuff, okay, is going to do this. They mention souls. They straight up they know that these souls exist. I believe they exist. That the soul is just that the narrative, the meta narrative, that what governs it, what moves it. You see what I'm saying? What moves it? What abstract component moves it? Just like, remember, everything has to have, from what we've seen thus far. This could be extrapolation. There's always an outside influencer. There's always some kind of, from what we can see, there's always some kind of outside influencer when you're dealing with when you're dealing with the physical and the metaphysical, there's always something that exists on the outside that's influencing something else. Something is always standing over the shoulder of something else. So this oversoul is doing this to these souls. There's another thing influencing them. You know, our planets, for example, the rotations and things like that influence Earth and all this kind of stuff, and then of course the sun that is rotating as well. All the things are rotating. Everything is rotating in the universe, and then using some sort of outer thing or like a location, another planet or a heavenly body's position, it's using that. It's being guided by that. Like our galaxy, for example. Our galaxy is said to be pulled towards something called, it's being right now being pulled towards something called the Great Attractor. They don't know exactly what it is, what it looks like, but it's pulling our universe. Then you might say, what's pulling the Great Attractor? Then what's pulling that? And it goes on and on. So it makes sense to me, either model, really, in a sense. Is, you know, the problem, there can be some problems reconciling it though, because it's like, okay, we just have eternal hierarchical we have an eternal hierarchical structure where things are just kind of infinitely coming down or descending. That's where this is going, people. Let's really try to find the truth of this. And this is a contribution to evolutionary astrology. Let's look at things from a perspective in which our ancestors could not look at it, because whatever reason it would have been, the age, our ancestors would have existed in another age where they wanted to use a more practical system or something like that. You know, well, we're not in that same age. We're not in Taurus. We're in Aquarius now, people. So that means that we need to be vibrating on on that frequency band of Aquarius, which is the mind, and things like that. That means that now, instead of just for the wanting to be safe with your ancient astrology and solidarity and finding the solidarity in ancient astrology, and just because you're comfortable with it and how it works and things, and you feel that you need to somehow project it as if it's the totality is the truth, like everything must go according to this ancient, traditional method. It must not stray from it at all. Any new concepts, anything that is brought forward, must, be